Welcome to Turkey Valley at 50, the 1960s, the transition decade. And it's brought to you by Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing. Click on the icon on this page for more information. And by Seed Solutions Group. We have three very interesting folks to talk with. Gary Hayek from the class of 1969, Renee Einwalter from the class of 1965, and Bill Sheridan from the class of 1962. In the late 60s, the parochial schools were closing. First St. Lucas, and then Prodovan. And Gary Hayek was a student through all of that, and he talks about that transition.
We knew a lot of the St. Lucas kids because we'd played, Little League and everything against them, but they added a lot to the basketball team, and our valedictorian was from St. Lucas. It was interesting, yeah. And then Prodovan, we only had 1 year, so it was hard to get to know some of those folks because it was just 1 year. It seemed like they came of age in football. Basketball, we were not good at all at that point, but within a couple of years, they were. They brought in some excellent coaches.
So it was a good transition period as far as basketball and some of that, and wrestling. I know they brought in Coach Argus at that time, and that seemed to really take off as well. But another thing, you lived pretty close to Spillville. You'd almost call yourself a Spillville resident, and I guess on one side of the road they went to Southwind, and on your side you went to Turkey Valley, so that was a bit unusual too, wasn't it?
It was, and last October of 2009, we had my class had a reunion, and we took a set of pictures, and those from St. Lucas, Waller, Walkover, whatever. Well, I did not attend any of those schools. I attended Spillville's.
In farming, just like in education, to get the best results, you have to start with the proper seed. If you're a farmer and haven't checked out what Seed Solutions Group can do for you, now is the time to do it. Seed Solutions Group is just what the name says. They have the seed solution for your operation that will help you get larger yields next year. With over 20 new corn and soybean products and new technologies, seed traits, and new seed treatments from Northrop King and Channel, Seed Solutions Group certainly is worth talking to. Click on the Seed Solution Group sign on this page to get in contact with Steve Maley or Tom Fye, seed agronomist, and they will help you find a better solution for your seed planting next spring. And if you act now, you'll get huge discounts. So get a hold of Steve or Tom today. It costs absolutely nothing to check it out. And what they have to offer may save you a bunch of money and produce yields much larger than you're enjoying now. Seed Solutions Group, giving the farmer seeds and service for success. Click the sign for more information.
Talking with Renee Sheridan. Many of you may remember her as Renee Einwalter from Fort Atkinson, homecoming queen back in 1964, and she was also a junior when the new school opened back in, I guess it would have been 1963. Renee, what was it like walking into this brand new, beautiful school for the first time back in 1963?
It was quite overwhelming, being from small towns and always having been in an old school building. Here was this huge, sprawling, modern building, and I think we were all pretty awestruck by the whole thing, and it seemed kind of scary, because everything was so new and so different.
But it had to also feel good, especially being from Fort Atkinson. You had spent a couple of years going all the way to Lawler, which in those days seemed probably like a huge trip. So it had to make you feel very happy to be a little closer to home, too, I would think.
That's true. I'd forgotten about those long bus rides. but it was great excitement. And seeing the school sitting out in the country like it did, it just seemed really special. And the bus rides were fine. We made friends, and it was all great fun. We loved it.
And you were also one of the first homecoming queens, 1964. You were the fourth one. That's the dream of every young girl, to be a homecoming queen, and your dream became a reality. That had to be great excitement.
It was. That brings back a lot of good memories. It was just fun. Everyone had fun with it, and one thing I remember is that the classes all worked together. Everyone was doing something different, and like one of the things they did was put huge posters all over school, and people actually campaigned for their favorite candidate, and I just had a lot of friends, and it was just all in good fun.
Talking with Bill Sheridan, now from Urbandale, Iowa, and originally from Lawler, class of 1962 at Turkey Valley, one of the originals, Turkey Valley High School members. And Bill, one of the amazing things I've heard about many times through the years was your football team. In 1961, I believe it was, you went undefeated in your second year of playing football. That is something that is unbelievable.
Well, the interesting thing about it is that none of us knew how to play football. We had a couple coaches, Mr. Brooks and Mr. Vavida, who were terrific, and we put our pads on backwards the first time. The good thing, Randy, none of the parents or none of the fans knew anything about football, so there was no sideline coaching because nobody knew anything about it. In our first year, we had 7 games. We won 3 and lost 4. In our second year, we just had a bunch of big farm kids, Kenny Lechtenberg and Terry Blong, and some great Husky kids. We knew about maybe 12 plays, but we really knew them well, and ended up beating 3 conference champions on our way to going undefeated. It was absolutely thrilling, and I think it did as much to bring the school together as anything you can imagine.
And you guys didn't have a field, right? Every game was a road game. Is that correct?
We had no away uniforms. We had to wear white to every game, and we played on the outfield of what's now the Lawler softball field. Then it was the Lawler baseball field. It ran downhill in one end, and we always tried to get that in for the fourth quarter when people were tired. We didn't have a clock. We had poor lighting, but my Lord, we became friends that have lasted a lifetime. It was wonderful, wonderful experience. Just along with the other great things at Turkey Valley of meeting some great people. I'd say the only downside, Randy, and I'll wind this up, is that those of us who were juniors and seniors didn't have as much time as we would have liked to really make bonds with kids from the other town, although we did well, but by that time we all had part-time jobs and kind of knew who we were dating and that type of thing. So that was probably the only downside. I wish we would have had more time with everybody.
Well, I got to throw this in there. For a long time, I wondered why Michael Jordan wore number 23. Then I saw your picture in the yearbook.
He called me up and asked for my permission. Yeah. I reluctantly gave it to him.
I couldn't help throwing that one in there, but you were the original number 23, which is phenomenal.
And a center with that number, and at the time weighed about 165 pounds, soaking wet. But oh my Lord, it was great fun, great fun.
Bill Sheridan, class of 1962 at Turkey Valley. He was a Lawler boy, now from Urbandale.
That would be right.
And that's it for Turkey Valley at 50. The 1960s, the transition decade. It's been brought to you by Seat Solutions Group and Edward Jones, making sense of investing. I'm Randy Novotny, and this is Turkey Valley at 50.